Hi there. So, we are getting towards the end of this conference, and I guess we had some pretty interesting presentations about many aspects of team building, how to make them happy, how to motivate them, how to even scale a company. But I think one angle was missing from the presentations, and it was that how pickles can help building an awesome team. It's quite a niche topic, but I'll explain. So, pickles. So, how many of you are here from Hungary? Raise your hands. Oh, quite a lot. And how many of you are not from Hungary? A little bit less. Okay, from those of you who are not from Hungary, do you know what this stuff is? Yeah, but it's... Nice. It's pickles, but it's a special Hungarian one, which is a kind of fermented pickle. It's made with bread, which helps the fermentation. And actually, I think it's something like a religion here in Hungary. Everyone knows the one true recipe that results in the perfect pickle. So those of you who didn't know what this thing is, I think I have the main takeaway for this presentation. On the first slides, it's a pretty good recipe in English from the Hungarian pickle. So, and you may think, what it has to do with team building, I will explain a little bit later. But first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Tamás Müller. I work at Mito. Mito is one of the biggest Hungarian communication agencies. We have digital roots, but nowadays we are doing everything from TV shooting to print production to developing huge online systems. And I'm the division leader of Mito Studio, which is an innovation and incubation team within the company. What we do a lot of things. I do not tell this for bragging. I just wanted to show that we have many fields that we deal with, so we have many kind of people. We have at least 70 coders, but we also have creative guys, which means that they are not really alike. And there's a big team where they have to get along. And another thing is that we grew quite fast. From 2008, when three founders with some of their friends established the company, till now, we grew up to 170 people, which means that we always had to deal with team building, with staffing, with motivating the teams, with shaping their effectiveness. And that's a constant topic within the company. Actually, I'm not from an HR division, or I never dealt professionally with building teams, but I was always leading teams within the company. Earlier, I was leading a client service team of 10 people. Nowadays, I'm building Mito Studio, which is a little team with 6 people, but they are quite different people, from coder to communication guy. So that's a new challenge for me, to work with people who not really talk the same language with me, but it's interesting. And here at Stretch, we have the topic of building teams. One of the highlighted topics were how to build a high-performing team that can outlearn the competition, that can win the market, or that can do something big. Actually, we were thinking about this question, and I think the question was not right. We have to rephrase it a little. The main question is how to build a team that's eager to learn. Because if you have a team that's eager to learn, that's motivated, you can have much better results on the long run. And first of all, I'd like to talk about a little bit layers of learning, because when you are working at a company, doesn't matter what company it is, you are the work stuff that you have to do. These are usually taught by formal trainings. You are learning it by doing, because you are doing it every day. It's essential that you know what you do. And these are the fundamentals. But there is another important layer, which is learning each other. act as a team, getting a team player or becoming a team player. Usually it's an informal way of learning. That's actually socialization. You get into a community and you try to get to know people and try to function within this community. And actually it's not a thing that you can really teach. It just happens. Someone is better at it and knows everyone and is friend with everyone, but someone is not so good. And the more introverted people maybe are not so social, so it's not, they are not so good at it. But that's a really important layer as well, because both of these drive your personal development or individual development. These are the basics for your development, but you also have to put some extra effort in your development to achieve something in the company, and all those individual developments add up to the team performance, of course. Our experience is that learning each other is the most important part from these layers. Because it could happen that you have a team of good professionals, but if they are not a good team player, then maybe you cannot get the results. When you have good team players, some of them are not so good professionally, but since they can play along well together, the performance of the whole team could be better because they help each other and the communication and the interaction is much better. And usually when we hire new people, we are looking for this cultural fit at Mito. We think that the ideal mindset is, or the ideal thing in the company is, that you are working with friends. Because if you have just colleagues, you solve the problem, okay, it's done, let's move to the next one. But if you are friends with the colleagues, then you are willing to put this extra effort, you are willing to help the other, you understand the other better. And I think it's kind of the same thing that Jürgen mentioned yesterday, this mental closeness, which is a key element of a good performing team. This is our experience. I recently stumbled upon Google's Project Aristotle, which is a more scientific approach to this question. They started this survey in 2012, and they were investigating the common traits of high-performing teams within their organization. I think they investigated at least 100 high-performing teams, and they identified 5 factors that were overrepresented within those teams. It was impact of work, which means that people believe that what they are doing have an impact of the world. It makes the world a better place. It's the meaning of work. It's the same thing somehow, but on a personal level, that it means something to them, and they can believe that they find their personal passion in this job that they are doing. It's structure and clarity, which means that the goals are clear, it's clear who's the boss, who to ask, rules are clear. There is dependability, which means that you can count on your colleagues professionally. If someone says that he or she's gonna deliver something for tomorrow, then you believe it and you're gonna get it. But the far most important thing was psychological safety. What does psychological safety mean? It has 3 main elements. One element is that in this environment, you can actually read the others, read the emotions, read the state of mind, even by just looking in their eyes. And you feel that, oh, this guy is pretty busy now, he's pretty upset, and you can act accordingly. In this environment, well, there is psychological safety. You feel comfortable enough to ask questions or just toss in some new ideas that you are not sure are okay, but you are brave enough to do that. And if you are doing mistakes, then actually you use it for learning and not just showing at each other that, wow, you messed it up. It's not good. Yesterday, so this psychological safety, as Google found out that this is the most important, I think is the same as our experience, which says that being friends is such a state where you feel safe among friends at the workplace environment. So getting back to to the layers of those learnings, you can find an interesting thing here that we noticed, that you have the stuff that you must learn. It's compulsory to do your work. You have some stuff which is based on your interest, which is aiming at your personal development, and there is this social layer when you are learning each other. And this quite resembles something that all of you have done before, which is being in school. Because that's the same experience that you had. It doesn't matter what kind of school you were attending. It's sure that you had to learn something. You had some extra classes like piano classes or whatever. And you had to make friends and get to know each other. And it was such an important part of everyone's life that I'm sure that a lot of you have friends from school. It doesn't matter if it's high school, if it's university, but you have a lot of friends from there. And actually, that was a time in your life which shaped you, shaped your personality, shaped your view on anything in life. So that's why we think that it's important for a company to provide a school-like environment that gets you back to that school feeling where you had to learn the compulsory stuff, you are enabled to do something that you want, and you are in an environment where you can socialize and make friends. So we have plenty of tools or so-called rituals from the previous presentation or practices that we use for this. But before I'm telling you those, I have to share one main principle that I think it's present in any tool that we are using for this team building or socialization effort. It's, at Mito, we say that do what you really want to do. It's up to you what you do. You are adult, but if you do it, then do it for real. Do it with full effort, and do it a motivated way. And I think this approach is present in anything we do. Recently, we got a new HR manager, Agi, and we had a little chat when she was coming to the company, and I was asking her that, tell me some interesting thing that is new to you, or you have never experienced, or which you like here at Mito based on your first impressions. And she said that she feels this enablement or this free spirit here at us, that people can do what they want. And she mentioned a good example that she met rarely in previous companies that she was working for. It's that if someone is a little bit undermotivated or got bored with his or her current job, or just wants to try another career, he or she can do that at Mito. We support him or her in this effort if she is also going to put some effort into this transition. Just a few examples from the company. We have now Tibi, Grabo, and Jokki. Tibi was an account manager, Grabo was an account executive, and Jokki was a technical project manager. And they were not really happy with their job at that time. You can see that on their faces. But they had the opportunity to move to another position, which was not really related with their previous position. And they put some effort in learning the new territory, and they had the opportunity to become a consultant, a production manager, and a UX designer, and suddenly they got happy. So, and this way, we haven't lost 3 people that we know well, that we know what they are capable of, that are our friends. Because maybe if they didn't have this possibility, then they would quit and go to another company, and we would lose good people. So, coming back to the toolbox, yesterday from Ericsson, I guess he was Peter, he mentioned that they have a toolbox as well. Actually, our toolbox is not a toolbox. I just named it after yesterday's presentation. I like the name. It's actually only a bunch of habits, rituals, practices, funny events and stuff that we use for two purposes: help people learn the work stuff, help people learn some optional stuff that they are interested in, and socialize better. Let's see those. First of all, there are some organized learning tools and events which were initiated by the management. So it's a top-down organized. These are top-down organized tools. Some of them are not so special. I guess at every company you have some money for online courses. You have money for buying professional books. One interesting thing is that we have a full-time in-house English teacher. We have different workshops. That's not an interesting stuff. I think everyone has them. We have one thing that is more interesting. This is those outbound trainings that we do. Usually, it's a bunch of people at Mito who get together and decide that they want to teach. And for example, Intro is a free course for junior people with no work experience who wants to work in the creative profession. And they can join this course for free, spend a half year here, and after that they can say that they have half a year work experience. But on the other hand, it's a pretty good source of new talents, because we get to know those guys, and that way we know if he or she stays, how his or her performance is. Another thing is hackathons. Since most of you, I think, are in tech industry, I guess you know what a hackathon is. It's a condensed effort to work on some ideas. At Mito, we have it every year once. It's a 24-hour effort when we get together, pitch some ideas, choose a few of them. We work on them for 24 hours. And after that, we present it to the whole company. There is a jury who decides. Actually, the guy with the less hair, he's our CEO, Bertie, and he's very enthusiastic about, this is the picture from the last hackathon. So the jury decides which one won, and they got a prize, and we try to work on those projects that were initiated through these hackathons. I love these hackathons because they are, it's amazing to see how much can be done in a very short time if the team is focused. And the other thing is that I like that you have the opportunity to work with very different people, because it usually consists of a team of 5, every project, and you have to get a coder, you have to get a creative guy, you have to get a project manager. So it's also good socializing stuff, working together for 24 hours and in the mornings shout at each other that why did you mess it up and we won't be ready and stuff. But after that you feel quite content when you presented the project. Another interesting tool is that at Mito, everyone is granted 4-hour play time that you can spend on some project or on self-education. You can spend it on different ways. For example, you can work on an idea that you submit to the Mito idea box, and if the idea is good, we're going to work together on that later. There are some Mito study groups where you can expand your knowledge in the field you are working at, or you can try something completely new. The only thing is that you get to try something that is in the competence of the company, so you don't start, I don't know, learning Kung Fu or whatever. For example, as an account who's dealing with client contact or client services can start to learn, I don't know, Photoshop. And you can also spend it some Mito Labs project, which are those projects that we pick are interesting because they are interesting and it's worth working on them. There are some bottom-up organized learning tools. This bottom-up means that guys at the company have ideas, they start to, I don't know, do it, and somehow they became rituals. Some stay for a while, some just fade, but it's like this, and we enjoy them. For example, Mito Academy, UXversity, Creatives Club, the Division mini trips, the graphics show, Mito weekly thematic Facebook groups. The more interesting ones are, I guess, Mito Academy. Anyone can start a Mito Academy, which means a lesson for the company in any topic he'd like to talk about. Usually it's about professional stuff, but sometimes it's about, I don't know, an interesting trip to a very far country or a trip to a conference or whatever. And this way, we learn from each other. There is Mito Weekly, which started as a, people started to get together links or send each other links about interesting stuff that they have on the internet, mostly professional stuff. And somehow it just got, more and more people got involved, and more people submitted content to that. And ultimately, this became the official newsletter of the company. We just put some little more effort in it, and now we have around 3,000 subscribers, and it's the official newsletter of the company. You can join if you want, pretty interesting stuff. And I guess it's not so uncommon. I guess every company has some kind of official or unofficial Facebook groups. The one interesting thing here is that I think we got at least 30 of them based on either hobbies or based on some professional topics. For example, we have Mito Arcade, where all the gamer guys in the company discuss the newest games and, wow, how awesome they are when they're coming out. There is, for example, Mito Bistro, which is the gourmet guys in the company changing paleo recipes or whatever. And there is also one dedicated to beers. So I think that's a pretty good initiative to learn from each other as well. And here comes the fun part, because all these ones were somehow related to professional learning or to train yourself in your work. But the layer I was mentioning, which is, I think, more important, is the socializing stuff. And we have plenty of them. We have Mito nights, office hack days, trips, beer nights, account picnic, whatever. The interesting one and the most obvious one is Mito night. Alcohol is a pretty good team-building thing, but I guess you all know it. This is a monthly get-together. We drink, we go into the town, and next day we don't remember anything. But there are more productive things, like office hack day, which we have every year 2 times, I guess. At these events, the company provides some tool for us, but all the people get and pimp their offices, their rooms. And first of all, the office looks nice with these paintings, but the most important thing is that we feel more home, because we made the environment by our hands, and it's also quite a good team-building effort, because we have some digital installations as well, so not only just paintings and buying stuff, but also some kind of hardware-related stuff. For example, we also have a toilet vacancy indicator thing, which are small Arduinos in the toilets that are sensing that if someone is in the toilet or not. Pretty useful. We have Bring Your Parents Days. I guess many of you couldn't explain to their parents what he is doing for 10 hours a day in the office. We stole the idea from LinkedIn. They had this. Those parents who want to come, then they come in. We have some presentation about what we are doing. And actually, their kid is telling what he or she is doing in the company. And after that, the parent has to repeat it or explain it in his or her words, what his kid is doing. Quite interesting thing can come out of it. And the most exciting part is, I think, those initiatives or those rituals that were initiated by people within the company. These are the real ones that come with an idea, and if they stuck, then they stay with us for a long time. I won't list them because we have many of them. Just show you some examples. Mr. Mito election. We are a tech company mostly, so unfortunately for me, fortunately for the girls, we have much more guys, but the girls were I don't know, they wanted to entertain themselves and made this Mr. Mito election. It has campaign managers, it has contestants, it has speeches. These are the posters from this year's election. The good guy archetype and the bad guy archetype. Guess which one? The bad one. Of course. Actually, once we had the idea that we do the same with girls. Although there are less girls in there, we thought that we should do the same. We asked 1 or 2 girls, and they said that this would be a political disaster within the company. So we ditched the idea to maintain the peace within the company. We have trump cards. These cards are a set of cards that everyone gets when he or she gets to the company. And these are some funny cards that you can play on the other or just play out to someone. For example, the pants card, which means that if you give the pants card to someone, next day he or she has to come in a jogging outfit to the company. It doesn't matter if there is a formal meeting or you have to go to a client or anything. You gotta come in your jogging pants. And there was an interesting day when all the guys gathered these cards and gave it to all the girls. But that was a special day when we had an off-site meeting in the town. So all the girls had to come to this party place in their jogging outfit, but they did it, so respect. But also there is a hangover card. If the previous night was pretty intense, then you can play the hangover card, and nobody can approach you personally. You can be approached only by emails that you can ignore. And there's a twist card where you can point at 2 people and say that you switch places in the office for 1 day. This is how usually everyone learns what to do at the reception. And there are some other cards, for example, the coffee card, when you are served with a coffee, and there is it's called Chichka card. It's a card. It's a card that you play out, and on that day, you have to be served by someone in a proper way, of course. We have a constant championship. I couldn't really translate it. It's a kind of show-off club. There's always a champion who can be challenged in anything. That was, I think, just a simple running match. But when the guy won this running match, he was then challenged in drunken penalty kick shooting. So that was the next one that I guess had to drink 1 beer per kicking. And they got until 12, I guess. And then it got pretty weird. We have a band, which is surprisingly called Mito band. They are always at company parties, and nowadays there is a concert called Reklam Zaj, which came somehow from this, that all the company bands of advertising agencies get together and have a concert together. And of course, this year we had the first pickles competition. That was the example that I mentioned in the beginning. It was a nice thing. It came from a random chat at the reception. Actually, I think in 15 minutes, it was completely organized with the jury, with the rewards, with the rules. We had, I think, about more than 20 contestants for this competition. So it's just a silly idea, but somehow it became, everyone liked the idea, and it became something that became a bonding experience and a really good memory in the company history. You can see the beautiful contestant with official stickers on it. This was not expected. This was when they presented it to the jury. Everyone was doing artwork from the cucumbers here. And we had the official jury who had a scorecard, and we had winners, prizes, and we also had some vodka with the pickles, and it was a really good party and a bonding experience. And I think every presentation has to have a really professional-looking graph or chart to seem serious. This is mine. But the main thing here is that I put all these activities, not all of them, I think this is the half of them, but all wouldn't fit. The horizontal line is about if it's a top-down organized or a bottom-up organized thing. The vertical line is about if it's aimed on professional learning or it's aimed on some socializing effort within the company. And the only interesting thing here is that we have the most of them at the first quadrant, which means that people are organizing fun stuff for each other, which is, I think, a really good thing, or a really good sign that we are really reaching that desired stage where friends are working together and they enjoy being together, and being together means a more effective team, because that was the original topic. And to get more serious about this performance, because all those are funny stuff, yeah, the cucumber competition, silly ideas, whatever. We are a for-profit company. We are working for clients, and we are getting money for that. And as you can see, I listed the top agencies in Hungary based on their revenues. And as you can see, this strategy works. The blue line says what was the revenue of the companies in 2012. The orangish line shows the last year's revenues. And as you can see, Mito made quite a good, good growth in this revenue part. If we continue that way, I think we're going to get to the uncountable jet skis amount of revenue that we are aiming for next year. So the main takeaways of this presentation, I think, is that you have to help the team to learn each other. Of course, you have to work on formal trainings and stuff, but if you are turning those colleagues into friends, then you can do much more or much more efficient steps to enhance the performance of your team. Enable people. Let them do what they want. Because if they can do what they want, they get motivated, and it also boosts your team's performance. And of course, invest in fun, because this helps socializing. If you are fostering such silly things that only take some effort, it's not about money, it's about some time that you are dealing with those silly ideas, then it can get you serious results, I think. So these are the main conclusions that I wanted to share with you. And of course, the most important takeaway is this. So those who haven't tried, do a fermented pickle at home. Unfortunately, you gotta wait for the summer because you need some quite high temperature for it. But we'll get there soon. So thank you very much. This was what I wanted to tell, and question time.
Well, good you left some time for us for questions. Are you ready?
Yep.
Do you really expect randomly hired people to be friends? If they are, it's a big luck, but can you rely on such a rare coincidence?
Actually, our experience is that you can. Of course, you cannot make everyone friends, but if you provide them such environment or such experiences that they get them closer, then it works. Of course, it could happen that in the big team, you have smaller cliques. It's usual, smaller teams that are closer together. But you have to foster these one as well. And for example, take into consideration when you are organizing working groups together. that you take into consideration that what's the relation between the people who you put in the same team. And yes, it works for us, so I think you can.
Do you break those cliques up when you make teams, or you keep them together?
Sometimes we break them up if some work is needed, but we try to keep them together because they are effective that way.
Isn't it challenging to be friends with 10 plus or more people who you spend 40 plus hours a week? What if only, let's say, 3 became friends? How it impacts the rest of the team, so it's the cliques.
I think it's somehow the same question. It works. If you come into our office, I don't know, at 8 o'clock, you would find many people in the office who are not working anymore. They are doing their FIFA championship. They are, I don't know, playing around on the table tennis pool or the table tennis. So it works.
Yeah, there was a question that was very close to it. Work-life balance seems to be going towards life. What's the actual ratio?
Actual ratio?
Between work and life, the balance.
It depends on the person. There are some guys who are living in the office, actually.
What do you tolerate as a boss?
Actually, it's up to them. If they enjoy being in there.
Pretty cool place. Okay. How family-friendly is this arrangement? How about people with kids? Can they manage all the social events?
Actually, I think it's family-friendly, and we have some given efforts that support this. For example, at summer, we have a nursery for the kids when they do not have the official school or nursery, that they can bring in the kids. We have a separate big room for them. We have someone who is dealing with them. So I think that's one effort that is pretty helping this family life. We have several occasions like Christmas and Santa Claus events when all the parents get together, bringing their kids, and they have fun together. But it's the same with the bringing your parents' day, that if they get to know each other more or they see what they are doing in there in the office, which was a black box before, maybe they tolerate better that sometimes people have to do extra work hours. So we do what we can, and if someone chooses that his family life is really important, then he's of course free to leave at 5 o'clock or free to leave any time that when she or he has to deal with some family business. So I think we support this.
You know perfectly, I love you guys, but you start to sound like a kibbutz.
Like?
Like a kibbutzim?
But it helps being friends, and we enjoy it, actually.
What is the average age in Mito?
It's under 30, I guess, so we are young people. I wanted to tell that actually those tactics may not work at a big company like Ericsson, but maybe you can get inspired. Uh-huh.
Well,
but actually, you can take away, I think, some tools or some techniques that you can do in your smaller team or within a large organization.
which one would you suggest?
Actually, the nights out, it works.
Okay.
It works pretty well, and the hackathon is, I think, one thing that can get people together.
There you go. We just had the hackathon question disappear. No, here. It was just here. Please explain the expression. Please explain the expression.
So, it was readable. It was the first prize or the certificate for the first prize. This project was a sticker pack for iMessage on iPhone.
Excuse me, I can't spare to help the foreigners. How would you translate it? Because they don't know what we're laughing at. The most fucking awesome project.
The most fucking awesome project,
Pretty
yeah.
much, right? Okay. Thank you. It's done.
Okay.
I'll let you go on. Are you done?
Oh, I just wanted to say what the project was. It was an iMessage sticker pack for Budapest night. Not a long time ago, you can install some custom stickers in iMessage, and we prepared a pack which is about what do we do tonight, let's drink, where do we meet, and these were some funny stickers. So we are working on it. We are releasing it, I think, in 2 weeks, and It's going to be fun.
Thank you very much. And this is you from the hosts.
That's me.
And from them, they draw it.
Thank you.